What if every major decision you make about your future is being undermined, not by your circumstances or the obstacles that are standing in your way, but by where you're making that decision in time and space? In this moment we're in right now, well, this moment is making long term planning more difficult than ever before. So today, I'm going to show you how to unplug from the chaos of the present moment and start creating the future on your terms. With the rapid pace of AI development, economic volatility, shifting global security, it all just feels like the ground keeps moving under our feet. Traditional career paths are disappearing overnight. Industries that seem permanent, well, these are being disrupted in months, not decades. And here's what's happening as a result. People are losing the ability to envision the future because why invest energy in something that is so unpredictable and out of our control? Why map out a 10-year plan when the rules of the game seem to change every 6 months? See, the uncertainty we're all experiencing, well, this can be paralyzing. And rather than being proactive, people are just trying to keep up with whatever's happening right now. So they've stopped investing time and energy imagining the future they want to see because it seems pointless. But here's where most are getting it wrong. They're basing their ability to envision the future on external events they can't control instead of connecting internally to the future they can create. Now, here's what I mean. Most people, well, they make decisions about their future from where they are right now. They're stuck in today, analyzing current conditions, weighing existing resources, and projecting forward based on past experiences. They ask, with all this uncertainty, what's the best future I can reasonably expect? But here's the problem with that. The point in time from which you make decisions, well, that determines what you believe is possible. And here's what research actually shows. People who visualize detailed future scenarios are significantly more likely to achieve their goals than those who focus only on current conditions. But when you're making future decisions from today's constraints, today's limitations become tomorrow's ceiling. In other words, the obstacles that you perceive ahead, well, these can literally obstruct your view of what's truly possible. This is what I call your perceptual location. It's that point in time from which you base all of your decisions. You see, when external uncertainty is high, present-day decision-making becomes even more limiting because you're not just constrained by today's resources, you're paralyzed by tomorrow's unknowns. And that becomes your ceiling, when in reality, it should become your foundation. And here's where shifting your perceptual location helps you break through the limitations of the unknown and propels you to your desired future state. See, instead of standing in today and trying to predict what might happen, you position yourself in the future you want to create and you work backward from there. Think of this like time travel, but not the kind you see in movies where you're trying to predict what will happen in the world. This is more like personal time travel. See, you're not going to the future to see external events or market conditions or global politics. You're traveling to experience what it feels like to be future you, the person that you ultimately aspire to be, the person who's not bound by the limitations of today. In other words, you're not asking, what will the economy look like, or how will AI change my industry? Because those are external uncertainties you can't control. Instead, you're asking, how do I feel when I wake up in this future? What kind of person am I? How do I spend my day? What problems am I solving? And what contribution am I actually making? These questions are reflective of the internal realities that you can control. Now, there's fascinating research on future self-continuity that shows something incredible. People who maintain a strong connection between their present and future selves are more willing to sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term gain because they see their future self as a real person, someone who's worth investing in. All that to say, when you shift your perceptual location from the present day to the future, you're much more likely to focus on what actually matters most to you. So you're no longer distracted by all the noise and the chaos of the now. You're no longer tempted to default to someone else's definition of success. Instead, you're deciding exactly who you're going to be, regardless of external forces. And that brings unparalleled clarity to every decision going forward. So then, how do you shift your perceptual location? Well, here are 3 specific ways to get you started. First, stand in the future. I want you to set a timer for 10 minutes. Write in present tense about one specific day in your ideal future. Where do you wake up? What do you do? How do you feel? What are you most proud of? Make it so real that you could step into it. Not something abstract like, I'm successful and have a great family. Be more creative and detailed about your experience like, I'm proud of the fact that I built a company solving meaningful problems while still being present for my family every single day. Next, focus on who, not what. See, once you're clear on who you're becoming, the what becomes obvious. Now, if you're becoming someone who prioritizes deep relationships over shallow networking, well, that changes how you spend your evenings. If you're becoming someone who creates value rather than extracts it, that changes which opportunities you pursue. Lastly, visualize with precision. I want you to immerse yourself in specific details. How does it look, feel? Like, what does a typical day look like to you? What conversations are you having? Now, this isn't just my idea. This is backed up by research that shows that process visualization, which is mentally rehearsing the steps you'll take, well, this leads to better performance than simply imagining the end result. Now, here's what's actually happening when you stand in the future. Focus on who, not what, and visualize with precision. Obstacles that feel insurmountable today, well, these become problems that you've already solved. There's no question about whether you'll figure it out because you already have. Every decision that you make right now has meaning because you're following a roadmap that your future self created. So as you go out today, I want you to remember this. The power of making decisions from the future, this is truly transformative. Because this eliminates imaginary roadblocks. It helps you focus on character over tasks, and it gives meaning to every choice that you make. So stop trying to predict the way forward. Shift your perceptual location, stand in the future you want, and let that vision guide every decision you make today. Are you ready to make your next big move, but you just don't know where to start? For nearly 2 decades, I've been helping high-performing leaders just like you take ownership of their future, leverage their wisdom, and transition to a meaningful second act. Now, whether you're shifting careers, eyeing a new venture, or you're just itching for something more, our work together will help you get clear about your next chapter. It'll help you to redefine your contribution and map out a plan of action that ensures you're successful through every step of the journey. Now, in my work with transitioning U.S. special operators and senior level executives, I've developed a proven framework for reinvention that helps leaders transition with greater clarity and confidence into their most meaningful work yet. Now, if it worked for them, I'm confident it'll work for you too. So, if you're ready to take ownership of your future, if you're ready to leverage all the wisdom, the knowledge, and the experience that you've gained, and you're ready to transition to a more purposeful and meaningful second act, then let's talk. You can contact me directly through my site at newfuturist.com, or you can email me directly at jared@newfuturist.com with the subject line, Reinvent. I look forward to hearing from you and helping you create the future on your terms.